Okay. Three, two, one. Nerds! We're back.
Back again. Yes, my friend.
5 days later? 5 days later. Yeah, 5 days later. So we recorded our instant review last Thursday, immediately after seeing the film. And we're back Tuesday night. Because our schedules have been kind of whack, and sickness has been going through my house, so we're recording it on the night before we release, because that's just how things came out. So this is our deep dive, and it will be spoiler filled. So know that, nerds. We're going to be talking free and open about the film. We're not going to be worried about spoiling anything for you. So if you don't want to be spoiled and you haven't seen it yet, go ahead and turn off the episode. Come back to the rest of it later.
The spoiler cup runneth over.
Alright, so in the interim, I was able to finish watching Loki. Will had to work, because money.
I have to work for money.
So he did not finish it, but you have seen it, so like you probably have a decent memory of how it ends. A few of the smaller details I had forgotten, but the basic points of the plot I remembered from the first time I watched Loki all the way through. And as I mentioned in the instant review we did, Loki definitely ties in significant ways with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Obviously, the cutscene at the end, by the way, spoilers. Again, spoilers. The cutscene at the end, we're jumping right to the end, actually shows Loki and Mobius, who have gone to, I guess, the 19th century, and found a version of He Who Remains, I'm guessing, at this point. After rewatching Loki, I'm guessing it might be He Who Remains, but I'm not sure.
I'm just for sake of my brain not exploding, I'm going to say he's a variant of Nathaniel Richards, but it's not confirmed that this is the actual true name of the character in the MCU yet. This is just his true name in the comics.
Of course, in that case, he'd strangely be a ancestor of?
Descendant.
But he lived living in the 19th century, so he went back in time.
Yes, he time traveled back in time to the 19th century. This also happens in the comics.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's right, because
he changes his name every time he takes on a new persona.
That makes sense. Is at the end, like the final episode of Loki, where Loki and Sylvie, which is just another version of Loki. By the way, for any of you who haven't seen the series, there'll be spoilers for that too, so if you haven't seen Loki yet, don't listen to this either.
I have questions about that. I know that we're not here to talk about Loki.
Yeah, we are. We're here to talk about how it ties in to Ant-Man Quantumania, so as long as it's relevant.
It's not relevant. I just can't figure out if Sylvie is Loki born as a girl, or Loki who decided to transgender to a girl. Using magic.
I'm pretty sure she was born female. I think that's the idea. And the implication is that was her only crime against the timeline. That, although why they didn't just take her when she was a baby, I'm not sure.
Yes, this is my point.
She does actually, I think it's in the final episode of the episode, like the penultimate episode, she asks Judge Reinhold, the head of the TVA, or at least the head human there at the... Well, I guess technically not, because He Who Remains
known head
is human, but at this point, like episode 5, at that point you don't know who the final person is. But Sylvie asks her if she remembers why Sylvie got pruned, and we don't know for sure whether the judge was lying or not, but she said she didn't remember. So we don't know for sure how Sylvie deviated from her timeline. But it's kind of left open for you to guess, like whether it might be just simply because she was a female variant of Loki. which that would suck. But again, why wouldn't they have taken her as a baby? So it's probably something else.
Like, just didn't notice until she got older.
Played with the wrong toy one day or something.
Yeah. This baby is not a boy.
Unlike the Loki, the young, like he's like 12 or 13, who they find in the void at the end. His deviation was killing his brother Thor at like age 12.
Yeah.
I don't know if Thor was 12 at the time. Is that something I don't know? Because I know Thor and Loki kind of grew up together, but then the question is, okay, we're getting off topic, which we are wont to do.
I just want to know whether or not Frog Thor and Loki Alligator were from the same timeline, and if they were brothers.
Oh, and there is like you see him very briefly. There's a tiny Thor stuck in a jar in the void, like buried under the ground in the void.
Isn't that Frog Thor, or is that just a tiny Thor?
He's just a tiny Thor.
Oh, okay.
He's just trying to get out, so he's like hopping in the jar and he can't get out of the little jar. That would absolutely suck. Like to be stuck there for like eternity, or until you physically die. Like, which I don't know how long it takes for Asgardians to die of natural causes. Odin. It seemed like Odin just decided to go, sort of.
To the little pixie dust.
He was like thousands of years old, apparently. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, Loki does tie in, particularly the final episode of Loki, where, 2012 Loki, variant Loki, and Sylvie go through Alioth. They managed to enchant the beast Alioth, who's in the void, and then they find the house at the end of time, more or less. And you can see like a visual manifestation of the sacred timeline kind of surrounding the house, and then they go inside and eventually meet He Who Remains, and they're surprised to find out that he's just human.
And in the comics, Alioth is a time monster that Ravonna, the wife of Kang, has to summon the Avengers out of their timeline to help her defeat the creature. So this is just a random nugget I got.
Nice. Yeah, Will's our resident researcher, so he was doing some research
this
today.
Time.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to think of something else. Oh yeah, something very significant that definitely ties in to the Ant-Man storyline is like obviously the climax of Loki, like with Loki and Sylvie are faced with a choice. They're given a choice by He Who Remains to either rule the TVA together and continue his work in protecting the sacred timeline, or I think it basically gives them the two options, like, or kill him, and if he's killed, then chaos will ensue, and all the other kings, he's implying that he's the one holding back all the other kings, and then he said there will basically be chaos and most likely another multiversal war, which I think you may have referenced that in our instant review. I'm trying to remember. Definitely one of our conversations with each other, like you talked about the next Avengers movie has already been announced, and it's going to be
Avengers Kang Dynasty, and then after that Avengers Secret Wars.
Yeah, so the Secret Wars must be the Skrull-Skree Wars, I'm guessing.
No, from the comics that would be the Beyonder. You remember the Beyonder from the He was I think he was a big part of the Spider-Man animated series. If you watch that, do you remember the episodes where Spider-Man is taken to this alien planet and then he gets to choose heroes from anywhere in the timeline? So he chooses Captain America and the Fantastic Four, and likewise there's a villain that gets to choose villains from anywhere in the timeline, and they all fight.
I don't think I got that far.
The Beyonder, it's like a game of chess. That the Beyonder is some sort of divine being that wants to know who's stronger, good or evil. So I don't know how the MCU will portray this and whether or not Beyonder will be a part of Secret Wars, but Beyonder is a part of the Secret Wars from the 80s, if I'm correct, if I'm remembering this correctly. I didn't read every single comic, but, you know, from what I've read and heard, I think that's...
Well, if they're invoking
accurate.
the actual title, then I'm sure they're going to tie it in, but
Yeah.
put their own spin on it, obviously. But so the next one... So it seems obvious to me that some of the King Wars, which obviously at the end of Ant-Man Quantumania, you know, you see where King the Conqueror is potentially dead, killed by potentially. You know, that's left as an open question to some degree, but he appears to die / be killed by Ant-Man and the Wasp there towards the end, and then at the very least the other Kangs believe him to be dead. So now they're planning to just... I don't know what exactly they plan to do. Like, they plan to just start a war? They plan to invade, like, every... Because it seems like they're working together, which wouldn't be the same as a multiversal war.
Well...
So it's like... I wonder what they're going to do.
From what I read on Wikipedia about all of this, it says that King the Conqueror... got with some of his variants throughout the timeline, his past and future selves. He got Pharaoh Ramatut, which we did see at the end.
Okay. Yeah, in the final scene. Yeah.
And I'm not sure exactly who the other Nathaniel Richards or Kings we saw were, but I definitely remember seeing a Pharaoh character. So he gets Pharaoh Ramatut and maybe Immortus, which is another name for He Who Remains, apparently. Immortus is the one that works for the TVA. That's that variant.
The one that created the TVA.
In the comics, he actually works for the TVA as a kind of a good guy, kind of not a good guy. It's confusing.
So they twisted it for the MCU.
Yeah.
And he created the TVA in this instance.
But in the comics, he did not create the TVA. The TVA recruited him.
Okay.
Of
course, he could have also been lying about it, which
yeah,
probably won't know until the second season of Loki, if that were the case.
If that were the case.
That might be a twist, because they do show, like, Judge Reinhold walks through a portal, but we don't know where she's going.
Yeah.
And we do get the idea that she wants to know, she wants answers. So, yeah, maybe that's something yet to be uncovered in Loki season 2.
Well, you know those 3 lizard people that supposedly founded the TVA?
Oh yeah, well, at least the androids or the images of them.
Well, in the comics, they really did found the TVA, the 3 lizards.
Okay.
But the twist in the MCU is that the 3 lizards are just
androids
created by He Who Remains. So there's this little plot twist.
Unless he killed the original 3.
This is possible. This is possible.
Yeah, I guess.
My brain.
Now it is interesting too. Like the very end of Loki, like after Sylvie pushes 2012 Loki variant back, like New York Loki. We'll call him New York Loki. Or actually, to be more precise, Endgame Loki. We'll call him Endgame Loki.
You mean?
'Cause he's the one that gets the Tesseract. You know, in Endgame when they go back in time. And Iron Man drops the Tesseract.
Or you could call him Avengers 2012 Loki.
Either way.
Yeah.
He's the 2012 variant, whatever.
Yeah.
She pushes him through a portal back to the TVA, and then she proceeds to kill He Who Remains. And He Who Remains tells her, like, hey, you'll see me again. It says, I'll see you soon. He basically tells her, like, he will come back in some form.
Yeah.
She'll see him again, and of course he also warns about the chaos and the multiversal war, which she doesn't believe him. The other Loki does believe him. And, yeah. Of course, he warns about chaos, I guess, not necessarily a multiversal war. Because, yeah, if they're coordinating, like they showed in the final scene of Ant-Man, they call like the main 4 guys, Kangs or whatever, called the others together. So it's like, are they all going to wage war on just one of the Kangs or one of the universes, ostensibly mainstream, the MCU universe or whatever?
Well, in the comics, Kang the Conqueror allied with at least 2 other Kangs or Nathaniel Richards that he thought he could not defeat, and together they formed the Council of Kangs, and their purpose was to defeat all the other Kangs.
So maybe they're going to betray all the other Kangs that were there.
Yeah, and in the comics, Kang the Conqueror, after they do defeat all the weaker Kangs, he kills one of the other members on the Council of Kangs, one of the other 2 members, and then he pulls the Avengers out of the timeline and sicks them on the remaining Kang. I think ultimately he wins, but the Avengers stop him. It's confusing time travel stuff anyway. But then later in the comics, because you can't keep a good Kang down, you have a cajillion Kangs again, and this time they form the Cross-Time Council of Kangs. They're not fighting each other anymore, I guess.
The Kang Gang.
I like it. Let's go with it.
The Kang Gang. You heard it here, folks.
Working on the Kang Gang.
Oh, by the way, apologies if this makes a lot of sound. I'm going to check, make sure we're still recording.
I hope so.
We are. Excellent. That would suck if we had just lost like a bunch of conversation. 'Cause I feel like we're getting on a roll there.
Yes, my brain can only divulge so much information.
Yeah, we've got that.
More than
we're using
once.
my iPad and we've got it turned around so we can use the better camera. But the downside is that I can't see us. So yeah, one of these days we'll have like a really nice setup with like a 4K camera that has the little flip screen that you can turn around and see, and like overhead boom mic or something.
A little remote control.
When we're rich, because we're going to be rich someday, right?
Or a camera person.
Yeah, or we just have some dispensable income. just some dispensable income.
I remember when I used to have a dispensable income.
When was that?
That was before the pandemic.
Oh, that's true. You did have
Life
more
was
money
good.
back. You did have more money back then. That's true.
No, life was good. It was.
Anyway, sorry for the distraction there, folks. I'll probably edit this out, but if I don't, apologies. Where do we leave off? Darn it.
So the Kang Gang.
Kang Gang, yeah.
Working on that Kang Gang.
Kang Gang. Cheech and Chong and the Kang Gang. No. Yeah. 2 very different things.
So my train's derailed. What's your train cargo carrying?
So let's we're about halfway through the deep review here. Well, ish. Let's circle back around to Ant-Man itself, and at this point we're talking almost exclusively about Kang and He Who Remains, Loki, Sylvie. We haven't talked much about the other elements of the film. So let's see. Oh yeah, the spoiler that you were going to reveal. You want to go ahead and reveal that? You remember from the instant review, you were going to reveal something.
Mechanized organism designed only for killing.
MODOK.
Yeah, I wasn't talking about Bill Murray. I was talking about MODOK.
Yeah, or MODOK. Excuse me.
Or MODOK because of the 4 there.
For killing, yeah, MODOK. Conveniently leave the 4 out. MODOK. It's just a preposition. You can toss it out. Yes.
And I want to say that his biography on Wikipedia was a lot less confusing than Kang's.
I bet. But they did make a significant change, which is where the surprise came in, right? Like that was not MODOK's origins.
No. I did want to talk about that.
Yeah, well, let's do that. This is obviously directly related to the film, and
yeah,
it's a spoiler because you don't meet MODOK until at least halfway through the film. I don't think and then it's a pretty big surprise who he is.
Yeah, I tried to avoid spoilers before a movie, so
Yeah, I didn't know. I had no idea.
I mean, maybe you.
He's definitely not in the
knew.
trailers, which that was on
Yeah.
purpose, obviously.
Yeah, maybe you audience already knew MODOK was going to be in it coming in, but we didn't, and I like that we didn't. Now MODOK in the comics, he is one reason I didn't expect seeing him. Not only is he ridiculous in live action, but and I'm so glad that they actually did. They just went for it.
Yeah.
They actually went for it. They didn't try, except for the armor. But there was a reason why he had the armor face, but it flips up. Except for that, they 100% comic accurate MODOK. Not backstory, but just his design. And I'm so glad they did it. It's ridiculous, but he is not an Ant-Man villain, and that's one reason I didn't expect to see him. He's a Captain America villain, as weird as that is.
Imagine if he had showed up in 1942, like.
Well, he is. Yeah.
Was it? Oh crap! I'm trying to remember the name of the villain in the first film.
Red Skull.
Red Skull, yeah. Red Skull's like, Captain America is my secret weapon. That was the very bad Hugo Weaving impression. But my secret weapon, MODOK. No.
Murdoch. Murderock.
For some reason, I've chosen an acronym that only makes sense in English.
This is true.
My German is way off tonight. I could do a better German. It's not working tonight for some reason.
So in the comics, MODOK is. I've been doing so much Kang research, I forgot. I don't remember his real name. It's not Darren Cross. That's a surprise. Yeah, that's a surprise.
Darren? That's said about what with each character that season, like Darren, because it's like it's giant zoomed in head of Darren, the only recognizable feature of Darren. It's like Darren.
I think the audience was also going Darren.
And it's funny because it's like it's like a, it's like it's I'm trying to think. It's like one of those names that's just like, you don't think they're going to be evil. It's like, Darren, better watch out for Darren. It's like,
Yeah.
Better run. Darren is coming. Doesn't exactly strike fear into one's heart.
So I'm just looking up MODOK's biography for a quick second. George Tarleton, that's it. In the comics, his name was George Tarleton. He was a scientist working for AIM, Advanced Idea Mechanics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't they pop up in the same Ant-Man movie? Didn't AIM pop up
in Ant-Man?
Yeah, I feel like they.
You mean the original Ant-Man or
no?
This
Like
Ant-Man?
this most recent one. For some reason, that's ringing a bell. AIM.
Advanced Idea Mechanics. If I did, I missed it. But but they are already in the MCU. They were in Iron Man 3, AIM.
Maybe that's where the bell's ringing, because I watched that not too long ago.
And they also appeared in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Which I have not watched yet.
In the comics, an AIM scientist, George Tarleton. It was George, right?
All of a sudden he gets up and starts dancing to Tom Jones. Dun, 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 dun. It's not unusual to be loved by anyone. Tarleton! No, sorry. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reference for those of you who are young. Or haven't seen Dancing with the Stars in the last 5 years. Either way. Continues.
This is true.
Actually, he might be alive and well in Gen Z through like memes and GIFs. Is it GIFs or GIFs? Like, I know there's controversy over whether it's GIFs or GIFs.
To be alive.
Yeah, he's actually apparently really talented dancer because he like killed it on Dancing with the Stars. Apparently. Like,
did you know he was a Ghostbuster once?
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah, the actor.
In animated?
Yeah, in animated.
Oh, okay.
He was in Extreme Ghostbusters. He played the Black Ghostbuster.
Oh well, yeah, that makes sense.
Because every team needs one black guy.
One black
for some reason.
Oh man. Oh.
We need to have a Ghostbuster team with 3 blacks and 1 white.
We gotta have shoehorned diversity. Yeah. There's just sometimes where it's obvious that white people are the ones that wrote it. They're trying to. I mean, points for trying, I guess, on some level, but yeah, sometimes it just doesn't work. I'm just like, I was watching a SNL skit about Frozen 2, and they were talking about Matthias, the Matthias character who's black, and it did strike me a little bit when I first saw it, but I didn't think too much about it. But then they really brought it out. It's like they were making a joke of like the other 2 guards, like Knudsen and Gjognu, very Norwegian names, and then Matthias is like, it's like, why are you here, Matthias, in Norway in 1840? So yeah, not historically accurate, but then Frozen takes place in, maybe that's where it's like, well, it's a fictional story, very fictional story that does sort of take place in a real inn. Anyway,
it's the world of Disney.
Yeah.
The mermaids can be black.
Yeah. That too, because like the story of the Little Mermaid originates in Europe. Like that's where it came from. So that feels a little bit shoehorned as well. It's like, I get it. Like you want representation. But I'm like, why do you need to rebrand an existing? Like just create a new amazing character who's black from the start. Like just do that. Like King T'Challa. He's always been black, right? He's from Africa. Amazing character.
Let's make him Asian now.
Tell me how that would make sense.
I'm just kidding.
It's like, and I get it. We're a couple older white guys, talking about this. But yeah, like
I don't care what color the Little Mermaid is, personally.
I don't think that's the best way to do it. To keep. And again, these decisions are probably being made by white people, and I know they get some props from. It just. But I feel like some of the self-congratulatory stuff is coming only from other white people. It's like, oh, you're diverse, yeah. 10 points, white people.
10 points.
It's like, no, man, like
go us. We're not bigots.
Or better yet, just let black people, let them tell their own stories.
Yeah.
Which increasingly they're getting chances to do, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, like Ryan Coogler, he got to direct. I know it's not a historical story, but he got to direct Black Panther.
Yeah,
did a great job. And that totally made sense. It's like, yeah.
So.
Anyway.
Ant-Man.
MODOK.
So George Charlton was a scientist for AIM, and he undergoes an experiment that's supposed to make him a super genius, give him psychic powers, but instead, well, it works, but his head gets really huge, and his body can't support his head anymore. So they make him a chair that flies around, and this is ridiculous for live action, but they made it work in Ant-Man 3 by having it be Darren Cross, who...
And it's in the quantum realm for another, because there's all kinds of weird stuff in the quantum realm, so it's like... Just imagine if he'd been like floating around San Francisco earlier in the film. He's like, I'm back.
Do it.
Yeah, why not?
And I want to get to that later, by the way. The possibility of him coming back. I want to talk about that.
Really? Doesn't he? I mean, he did.
Well, it was a really ridiculous death. Do you think that he just pretended to die? I hope so, because he needs to come back.
It could be.
He really needs to come back.
I don't know. Is there going to be another...
I can die happy now.
I know Ant-Man... I think they said Ant-Man will return, but... Question is he going to have another Ant-Man movie, or is it just going to be in the next Avengers movie? Which there's another question too, is like which Avengers are going to be in the next Avengers movie? Like, are you going to have like Ant-Man and the Wasp, but then like the new Hawkeye? It's like you introduce like the new young Hawkeye. It's like, is she going to be in it? Which, have you seen that series yet?
Well, yes.
Yeah. It's good. Just check it out. Francis Pugh is awesome in that, by the way.
Well, this leads us to Young Avengers, right?
Yeah, why not? Let's go there.
Well, Young Avengers is in the comics, and that is a new Captain America, a new it's not. Is it Rhodey? No, it's not Rhodey. I'm sorry, I'm thinking about Iron Man's sidekick.
Yeah, he's what, Iron Patriot?
Yeah, Iron Patriot. Iron.
Or War. He prefers War Machine.
No, Iron Patriot, is that Osborn in the comics? I'm getting. He wore the. Yes.
That I don't know. I haven't read enough Iron Man comics. So.
I think that was Dark Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we're getting off topic again. At least it's still Marvel.
Back to Ant-Man. Bill Murray dies.
Bill Murray dies. Or does he?
Or does he? That's true. They didn't show the death. What was his character's name again? Do you remember? I'm trying to remember what his character's name was. I know they say it multiple times, and my brain is at a loss right now.
I don't remember.
He's like human.
But he was very Bill Murray.
He's human in the ways that count. Because apparently he and...
Do you think he ad-libbed his own lines like he does for all of his other movies?
That would explain why Michelle Pfeiffer was like giving him the stank eye. Okay, that was the... Because she's just like, really? If he did, that's pretty... He's just like, that might not have even been in the script, and he's just like, yes, I was... It's like, wait, but are you human? It's like, nah, in the ways that count. Knowing look. If it was, then they had to write the later scene in where she
needs.
Both the Pims are talking about times they hooked up with someone in the 30-year interim period, and their daughter's like, oh my god, it's like, and then she's just like, don't tell, it's like, don't tell me that. And then she's like right there.
Well, that reminds me. Hank said that he had dated someone named Linda, and I'm just wondering, is it Linda Carter? No, that's Peggy Carter. I'm sorry, I'm thinking about Peggy Carter. Never mind. Who's Linda Carter? Is that an actress?
Huh? Are you crossing comic worlds here into DC? Like,
probably
thinking of the actress who used to play Wonder Woman?
I think so.
Okay.
Never mind.
Linda something, I think.
I thought he was talking about Peggy Carter. I'm just all confused.
It's like, yeah. She's like, yeah, it was Linda. We hooked up a few times. Like, it didn't work out. And dang it, I cannot think of either. Hank. Is it Hank Pym?
Yeah, Hank Pym.
Hank Pym. I can't think of his wife's name right now. Michelle Pfeiffer's character, Janet. I should remember that too, because Michael Douglas has this really good way just of saying Janet. And he's like, Janet. He gives it character. I don't know why I couldn't remember that. And yeah, she's like, anyway. He's like, because she wasn't you, babe. But yeah, the thought of her.
That's a good comeback.
What is it?
Like, entire marriage.
When Hope asked her about why she hooked up with the Bill Murray, she's like, you hooked up with him? And she's like, he was charming at one time.
At one time.
Or he used to be charming. I was like.
I can't believe Paul Rudd wasn't like, why does he look like Bill Murray?
That would be great. Break the fourth wall.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, Deadpool shows up in the Quantumverse.
So, people a long time ago were saying that
Quantum Realm, excuse me, not Quantumverse. Sorry.
Tom Holland was dropping Star Wars references in his first outing in Captain America: Civil War. People were saying, why doesn't Tom Holland just be like, wait, Samuel L. Jackson?
Yeah. Wait, Shaft? What are you doing here? Oh, dang. What was his character's name in Jurassic Park? Dang. Muldoon. No, that's the hunter. Dang.
I don't remember. I know who you're talking about.
Dang it.
The head of security.
Yeah, the guy who gets all that's left of him is an arm. That creeped me out as an 11-year-old, by the way, that scene. Side note.
I always wondered if he survived just without an arm.
Hey, you never know. Of course, then why would the Velociraptor not eat the arm? It just left, if that's all it got. Yeah, my mind's drawing a blank right now. I haven't watched Jurassic Park in a while. Yeah, I do always remember his quote, though. I mean, it's hard to forget that. It's like, Hold on to your butts. Hold on to your butt, MFers.
So, have you heard of the Micronauts? I think they're called the Micronauts anyway. I think that's a Marvel book of characters that exist within the quantum realm. And I'm just wondering if we saw them as part of the Freedom Fighters in this film. And that's something I didn't have time to research, but I'm wondering about it.
Could be. Yeah, because it's like there's this whole world down there with strangely humanoid creatures. It's like, and here's a question. Like, is there oxygen down there? And like how is it the people that shrink down are able to survive? It's probably not. Yeah, this is where the science breaks down. It's like they would be so small that they wouldn't be able to breathe oxygen molecules. So like, how would they survive? But it's like the same thing of like where there's oxygen, a perfect oxygen nitrogen, mixture on Thanos' home planet. They're able to fight without mass of any kind. Can't be troubled with scientific accuracy. Yeah, it's like, why would? Yeah, but then whatever.
Yeah,
I'm rambling.
Apparently.
Save me, Will.
Well, I'm just looking up the Micronauts.
Do they ride micro machines?
They haven't updated the Wikipedia for the newest film yet, but yes, the Quantum Realm is the home of the Micronauts.
Speaking of which, Hasbro, Paramount, why have you not made a Micro Machines movie yet? G.I. Joe, out the wazoo, no Micro Machines? What's up with that? Just saying.
Well, depending on what Hollywood puts out, you might be grateful they didn't make it.
That's probably true. It probably, I mean,
just think
now, Snake Eyes, I haven't seen it yet, but the trailer did make me kind of want to see it. Not enough to go pay theater prices.
Right.
But, I might. I don't know. I only have one life, not enough time.
This is true.
See, this is where I'm getting now. Like, now that we're doing like these regular like TV movie reviews, like I used to listen to shout out for another podcast, by the way, Film Spotting. It's hosted by two Chicago film critics, and they do it for a living. They review movies for a living, and they talk regularly about the fact that they rarely have opportunities to revisit a movie once they've seen it. Especially if they, because they're always having to review something new, like every week, because that's their job. And then they also have a podcast on top of that.
I've always wondered if that just makes you hate movies.
I don't know. Like they don't seem to get there, like, because they like really get deep into the nuts and bolts of filmmaking, and they cover excuse me, they cover popular movies, but they also cover like very, I don't think obscure is the right word, but like independent films, like artistic films, things that your average moviegover had never even heard of, or filmmakers, but they talk about it with passion, and like they teach you about filmmaking as they're doing the podcast. So hey, if you like good movies and good movie reviews, go check out Film Spotting. You guys got that for free. Film Spotting.
For free.
Because I know you're listening, Film Spotting. Yeah. Shout out. Distracted myself again. Alright, let's see.
We talked about Kang, we talked about MODOK, we talked about Micronauts.
We haven't talked about Ant-Man's daughter.
Right.
Dang it.
What about it?
My brain is like... What?
Well, I know they
He calls her Peanut, but I can't think of her first name right now.
I don't remember
my
either.
brain is... Yeah.
I think she's supposed to be part of the Young Avengers. That's right. I started talking about the Young Avengers earlier.
She become like the new, or Ant-Woman, I guess.
She wasn't given a superhero name in this film.
No, not in this one. But yeah, she doesn't have wings, so it's basically a copy of I mean, it's fitted for her. Obviously, Hank made it for bad grandpa.
Bad grandpa.
No, it actually ends up helping her quite a bit in the quantum realm.
So one of Kang's other identities is Iron Lad, and Iron Lad is a young Avenger. He is obviously an Iron Man
descendant,
heir,
copy.
Yeah.
He's like Nightwing to Tony Stark's Iron Man or something.
Yes, something like that.
Like, yeah.
The Iron Man 2.
He is
Iron Man.
he is to Tony Stark's Iron Man as Nightwing is to Batman.
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne's Batman.
Then again, we've already gotten Ironheart in the Black Panther 2 Wakanda Forever film. So I don't know if they're going to do Iron Lad or not, but they could. Iron Lad is Kang, a young Kang. You don't remember Ironheart from Wakanda Forever?
Dang it, I'm drawing a blank right now.
I actually kind of wish they had...
I need to rewatch it.
I was looking forward to her character, but it didn't hit home for me, but that's okay because, I haven't read the comics, so maybe they got her comic accurate and I didn't know it. But I was looking forward to that. They gave her a Wakanda armor, but sent her back home. Basically, she's going to have to build her own armor for her next appearance.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank. I guess that just went right past me when I saw the movie. Sure, if I saw a picture, I'd be like, oh yeah.
Yeah, she was the girl, the college-age girl that the FBI or whatever was after, and she had...
Oh, yeah. The one that was like... Okay, yeah. That clicked. Yeah, and she like designed the suit. And okay. Yeah.
So I don't know if we're going to get an Iron Lad since we already have that successor to the Iron Man franchise, but you never know.
I thought it was going to be Pepper Potts in the blue suit.
The daughter?
No, Pepper.
Oh, Pepper. I'm sorry.
She shows up in the blue suit at the end of Endgame. No, I doubt she would ever put it back on.
That's with Paltrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't even remember what MCU movie she's actually been in.
She's like, wait, was that the one with Taika Waititi? Wait, no,
I've
never been in a Taika
Spider-Man
Waititi
film.
Yeah, well, she's more interested in her Goop empire right now. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I just don't expect her to come back to the MCU.
Yeah, Endgame I think was a good way to end. I mean, Tony Stark is dead now, and and she's been doing it long enough. She probably doesn't have much interest in coming back. But.
Yeah, I just thought you were talking about the daughter for a split second there because there were fan theories that the daughter would come back in some sort of form as a new Iron Man or Iron Girl.
I mean, that can still happen.
Yeah, but I'm glad they're doing Ironheart since that's actually a character from the comics.
Yeah. No. Yeah, once you started talking about her a little more, I was like, oh, yeah. She was actually pretty prominent in the film, obviously. Yeah. So let's see. I think we're going on pretty long enough with our deep dive.
Could always get deeper.
Deeper and deeper into the quantum realm. So, I guess since we're right about the end of the episode, we'll talk about what we're going to be talking about next week. So, next week's episode, we're going to be reviewing the first 2 episodes of season 3 of Picard.
That's right.
And with special guests Lars DeSenza and Casey of at Holodeck 4. So, yeah, check out Lars DeSenza. He's at Photographer on Instagram. He's also a co-host of the at Technicity podcast, which is on Instagram, on YouTube. You can listen to it on Spotify. I think it's only on Spotify right now. But then at Holodeck 4, she posts Star Trek memes like at least 10 a day, maybe 12 a day. Yeah, she's like constantly reposting Star Trek memes and humorous Star Trek memes. So if you love good Star Trek memes, check out her stuff on Instagram and Twitter and YouTube now as well. But anyway, they're going to be our guests next week, and we'll be reviewing those first 2 episodes. Which reminds me, I think, yeah, we got to figure out when we're gonna watch them. Like, yeah. So anyway, nerds, any final thoughts, Mr. Irreverent Nerd, Mr. Boyer?
Well, here's to campaign MODOK 2024.
Resurrect MODOK. Or
Resurrect
MODOK ain't dead. Yeah.
He has to come back. I don't care.
MODOK Returns, directed by Tim Burton. Well, they brought 89 Batman back. Well, by the way, totally different topic, but a nerd topic nonetheless. Did you see the trailer for the new Flash movie?
I saw one of them. I'm not sure. I think there's one out there I haven't seen yet, but I've read some articles dissecting all the bat suits that we saw in it, and I saw a picture of.
It does seem like Christian Bale's Batman shows up at one point, or at least his motorcycle seems to show up.
Yeah, exactly what I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I haven't seen that trailer yet, but I definitely am aware of it.
I'd be surprised if Christian Bale actually shows up. So I wonder if it's like just him riding the bat cycle at some point. But you never know. You never know. If you give him enough money, maybe come back. I think he has said in the past he wouldn't come back unless Christopher Nolan was directing. But once again,
you can always have some sort of stunt double and just wearing the suit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If it's like just him like driving through Gotham or something. Yeah, because studios will do that too. They'll like tease you and be like, oh, "Is Christian Bale going to be in this?" I was like, "No," but Batfleck obviously is in it, and because he's in the trailer, at least the trailer I saw, he shows up.
Yeah.
So he's in it.
Really? Oh, he is. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah,
cool.
And then of course Michael Keaton, is in it as Batman. Which I suspect he'll be. I mean, he's older, better actor now. I think in many ways. Question is, will he be Bruce Wayne at all in it, or will it be Batman the whole time?
Michael Keaton?
Yeah.
That's a good question. What is the... I guess it depends on the runtime of this film, depending on even if they have time for that.
By the way, the DC animated film, The Flashpoint Paradox, is excellent. You should check it out if you haven't seen it. Jury's out on whether this one will be. The trailer didn't get me very excited, to be honest with you.
Really?
But part of that, the trailer wasn't done particularly well, in my opinion. But obviously, part of that is just the whole controversy around the main actor, which is very unfortunate because
we're all excited about.
Yeah, we've been looking forward to this.
We're just excited about Batman.
Yeah, and so it's like it kind of ruins it, and I doubt he'll be back, as Flash. So, which I'm fine with. I never really liked him as Flash anyway.
No, I didn't either.
What they should have done, I wonder if he'll pop up, and that would be cool.
Grant Gustin?
No, they should have asked Michael Rosenbaum to come be Flash. That would have been great. Because dude, like, I think he's right at 50 or 40, so he's still relatively young. He's in good shape. But he did the voice of him in the Justice League and most of the DC movies, and he was great, like in the animated series voice. It's like, but I think he could have pulled off the live action Flash as well. He
actually didn't play Barry Allen though. He played brain part. He played Kid Flash. What's his secret identity? In the comics, Kid Flash becomes Flash after Barry Allen dies or disappears into the Speed Force.
Oh, so
Wally West. That's it, Wally West.
Oh, so he wasn't Barry Allen Flash in the Justice League?
Not in the animated series. He was Wally West. They just skipped to Wally West for some reason and didn't even use Barry Allen. But just like how they didn't use Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, they used
John
Yeah, Jon Stewart.
Jon Stewart, yeah.
But
not
no,
that Jon Stewart.
No, I mean I love that Flash though.
Yeah, I thought he was great, and I think he would have done a good job as Flash, live action Flash too. He's got that. He's like that as a person too. Like he's got that sense of humor, which he didn't get to show very often as Lex Luthor in Smallville.
Oh,
you know, like,
is that him?
Yeah, that's him.
Oh,
but
cool.
he actually has hair in real life.
Cool.
Yeah, and he has a what's it called? He has a podcast. Just look up Michael Rosenbaum, and his podcast will probably come up. I'm trying to remember the name of it right now, but yeah, I recommend it. And he hasn't actually. I think we've plugged it before because he had a really good interview with Kevin Conroy. So back when we did our episode on Kevin Conroy. So go back and listen to that episode of ours so you can find out the name of Michael Rosenbaum's podcast. You know, don't Google it. Go back and listen to our episode, so you can find out. But no, yeah, excellent interview there. Yeah, I cannot think of the name of his podcast right now, but it's enjoyable. And he's just very candid, very down to earth guy, and yeah, it's a cool podcast. I can't think of the name of it right now. Dang it.
Dang it!
It's too late at night. It's too late at night. All right, let's wrap this up, nerds. It's been a pleasure.
Fellow nerds.
Sayonara. Live long and prosper. And what's some other good advice? Stay away from Bill Murray. No.
Sonic said,
don't let Bill Murray near your wives. No. Human in all the ways that count.
Like,
I'm just gonna keep looking at the camera again. Like, all right.